Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate reporting, coming your way mid-June 2017. It's kind of lake swimming, season and stuff like that, so I thought it was a perfect time, me being an anal bastard and all, to do a review of this particular movie. I'm coming at you to review the 1986 or 87 classic that no one's heard of, Terror at Tenkiller. This VHS I got probably back in the day, like the early 2000s, when Video Update were clearing out all their VHS. Back when Video Update was still Video Update and hadn't been bought out by Movie Gallery yet at the time, they were clearing out all their VHS. So if memory serves, you could get like 20 tapes for $10. And as I've mentioned so many times in so many reviews past, being just a huge movie fanatic, and in particular just a horror movie fanatic, I go to all the video updates I could find and clear out as much as I could of what looked interesting to me of their horror VHS. So for 50 cents I acquired something that was looked interesting to me, being a fan of just in general outdoors and the lakes, and in particular horror movies that involve lake settings and stuff like that. So this was one of the many VHSs I picked up, Terror at Tenkiller. This was distributed, it looks like it was made in 1986 and potentially distributed in 87 from this outfit, which is no longer, which is now defunct, by the name of United Home Video, which put out such classics as, shot on video classics as Blood Lake, which I think I've already reviewed, and Blood Cult, and The Ripper. I think all those movies were shot on video. This particular movie was actually shot on film. Now I don't know if it's 35mm or 16mm, but regardless, it is shot on film, which is very cool. So on to the review of Terror at Tenkiller. I rewatched this rather recently because later on, after I got this, I came across this. I think I got this used at Half Price Books, although it might have been back when I used to peel off the sticker, which I don't do anymore because a lot of times the stickers on Half Price Books have the date, and it's really cool to know like when you got a particular title. But I think I may have gotten this used at Half Price Books. This has since come out from Cinema Pops in 2004, a double feature of Terror at Tenkiller and The Last Slumber Party, which I'll be reviewing after this Terror at Tenkiller review. I'd never seen The Last Slumber Party until this release. So this is available. I mean, I don't know if you can still get it. I would imagine you could still get it. The only problem with this DVD presentation of Terror at Tenkiller is the dark scenes, in particular this kill at the very beginning of the movie with the throat slitting. The dark scenes, like the nighttime dark scenes, the contrast, I don't know, it's darker than the tape. And one weird thing about the opening credits on the tape is it's like video credits, and the opening credits on this are actually film credits. So maybe when they did the tape, they wanted to change some names around or did something, so they did like video credits for the tape. But somehow there's a different version of this which has actual film opening credits. I'm sure this is all stuff you really want to know. But I'm sure the movie's on YouTube, so you don't have to buy the DVD to see Terror at Tenkiller. Just search it on YouTube after watching every single one of the videos on this particular channel. But on to the review of Terror at Tenkiller. As I've said, I probably saw this maybe the early to mid 2000s, and having revisited it, yes, it's really low budget fare and probably made in whatever, Oklahoma, I think. I can't remember. All of them southern kind of states just kind of bleed together. But I think United Home Video was kind of like an Oklahoma-based distributor. So I would say that I don't know if these movies, shot on video movies like Blood Cult and Blood Lake and The Ripper and stuff, I don't know if those were commissioned by, United. I think in the credits this says United Pictures presents. So I would imagine the actual distributor had these movies, commissioned to be made or whatever. But so this is like an Oklahoma gem, and it's actually filmed around this. I didn't understand what the hell this Tenkiller meant in the title, but when you watch it, you understand. Tenkiller Dam is an actual place. I think it's in Oklahoma. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put where it actually is on the screen in red letters, but I think Tenkiller Dam is an actual real place, and I think it's in Oklahoma. So Tenkiller because it makes no sense to us who doesn't know anything about this dam or this location in the United States, but Tenkiller is a place. So it's kind of a cool word for a horror movie, really. So when you see the title Terror at Tenkiller, you're like, what's Tenkiller? Interestingly enough, though, I don't think the movie was actually shot. There's a scene of what was presumed to be the dam or whatever, but I don't think the lake or whatever is actually Tenkiller Lake. They filmed this movie, and I don't know, but that's what Tenkiller is about. Or the name. It's an actual dam, I think, in Oklahoma. So I think I've covered that several times already right now. So on to the review of the movie. It starts with this, just this location. Like I say, I think Tenkiller Dam or whatever overlooks, spot at night at dusk, and it's just like this confrontation with this woman. It's really dark, so we're not meant to see the protagonist in this scene. So this woman comes out of the car and he's like, Denise, come here, and it's just some whatever, just abusive situation, or what's that called? I don't know. I mean, situations when you have a man and a woman abuse situation. But this is what happens at the very beginning of the movie. This kill with a really good makeup effects, actually, of this throat slitting scene, which on the DVD unfortunately is really dark, and on the VHS you can see it a lot better. But unfortunately, you guys are probably not gonna, VHS isn't exactly easy to come by. Maybe some kind soul has put the VHS on YouTube. But the movie just, this movie is like perfect for me being just a fan of these kind of, no budget, just micro budget, just schlock horror movies stuff. Obviously, this is, the mid to late 80s when the slashers have been just so popular and dominating, in particular, well, not only theaters, but, at this time, very heavily on home video. There's probably a lot of stuff that this United did, like the titles I just mentioned, that obviously just went straight to home video. For some reason, I don't know how they got enough money to actually shoot this one on film, but it's shot on film. So it looks, it plays a lot better and a lot more professional than, the kind of shot on video stuff does, obviously, because it's got that film look. But, it follows I'd consider this to be a gem. I mean, a gem for just a schlocky mid to late 80s horror movie. It follows the, already laid down kind of cliched and whatever by the numbers just formula that has been done so many times by this time in movie history, by the mid to late 80s. But there's a lot more movies that are much more incompetent than this movie, which is, I'll get to on another review after this one, such as The Last Slumber Party, which really make Terror at Tenkiller seem not so bad after all. I mean, the acting in this movie, there's these two women who I think they're probably like mid to late 20s who are supposed to be, of course, you can have mid to late 20s or even 30s or 40-year-old people in college, but there's these two, this movie basically revolves around these two characters of this one woman who's, I kind of, I'm kind of partial to more busty women, and there's this movie, this Stacey Logan, who I think is the kind of the lead in this movie. I think this is the only movie she's ever done, which is, it always interests me, like when, kind of like with, what was that movie I reviewed, the winter one? Crap, I don't know, I'll put the name on the screen in red letters, the title of the movie, Hobbs End, where that movie starred a woman who I think had only just done that one movie. It's always interesting to me when someone just like does one movie and it's just like either the experience wasn't favorable for them, or that's the only thing I can really think of why someone would just only do one movie or whatever. But getting back to what I was getting to, like the main people in this movie, the Stacey Logan and I don't know what the hell, Michelle Merchant must be her friend, kind of the more flat-chested roommate or whatever at college. But like I say, these women are supposed to be college girls, but I think they're mid to late 20s, which is fine. I mean, whatever. I mean, this Stacey Logan's pretty attractive and whatever, and you get to nice busty, naturally busty girl and stuff, and you get to see one of the best kind of non-nude shower scenes where you kind of get to see pretty much everything very quickly but not everything at the same time. It's really tricky to do these kind of things where you just kind of flash you know, the whole goods in front of you, but not at the same time. So whatever. If you're lucky, check it out. It happens at the very beginning of the movie where she takes a shower, and it's one of those kind of scenes where it's like kind of shows you and kind of doesn't, and then there's this one brief moment where her friend, I think it's Jana, pulls the in a hokey ass moment, pulls the shower curtain away and he's like, "Here's Jana." But her friend is so freaking annoying. She's also got this boyfriend who's just an asshole. And after the first kill in the movie, we cut to Stacy Logan's character of Leslie swimming in the swimming pool, and her crappy boyfriend coming in and is just in this horrible acting. This guy who plays her boyfriend is actually one of the, I think, writers or editor of the movie or something to do with the behind the scenes, so that's why his acting sucks, because he's primarily not an actor. He's probably just like, oh, well, instead of getting someone to play this guy, since it's her boyfriend, since it's such a small part, I'll just do it. And it's just like, oh gosh, you know, the two lead girls are pretty good acting, but this guy's just like wooden as all shit. But this is the kind of stuff you watch these movies for at the end of the day, is just this wooden, horrible acting and just, you know, low budget crap. And it's just like, Leslie, we gotta talk. So, you know, something, I can't remember, I shouldn't remember the dialogue, but he's just like, we got a few things to talk about, you and me or whatever. And it's just a stupid, like, abusive, I don't know if he's physically, yeah, he kind of pulls her around and stuff, but she's like, kind of like the, just, I don't know, the victim just being in, you know, love with this abusive boyfriend. So you got, it's funny because this you know, attractive, busty, naturally busty woman, Leslie, played by, I think, Stacy Logan, has got this abusive boyfriend, and kind of like, in a way, this manipulative, controlling, abusive roommate in a way. Not physically, but she's like, oh, that boyfriend's so horrible, you gotta get rid of him, he's such a bully. And then she's like, come on, you're coming with me to the lake. Turn off that damn radio. You know, and it's like, she's hates that, you know, this abusive roommate hates that Leslie has this abusive, manipulative boyfriend, and at the same time she's telling her, you know, this victim of this horrible boyfriend to do what she wants her to do. So it's kind of funny. I don't know if they meant that, but it's really funny. So one of the key things in this movie, well, it's not a key thing because it just happens in this one scene after the swimming pool scene, and there's like a confrontation between Leslie and the abusive boyfriend. They go back to the dorm room or whatever, and it just like, it just gives away this movie's horrible, just no budget. They have this stupid scene. I don't know why movie makers feel they have to do this kind of stuff, but there's just like a boombox in the background, just in between them talking in this scene. It's just like prominently right there, and they knew they were going to have some kind of music. I don't know if they thought they were going to have, probably not because they were low budget, but anyway, long story short, in the final movie, there's just this lame ass, you know, the composer of the music for the movie probably wrote, you know how they just, you can't obviously get rights to any kind of music that is real, probably like 4 times the budget of this movie, so you know how the low budget movies just have like just music that is made for the movie that's supposed to be like music on the radio, and it's just so funny. It's just in the background for half of the scene, and she's just like, turn off that damn radio. Anyway, this review's going on way too long, but long story short, I guess it's the end of the college year or whatever, and Leslie's kind of more manipulative, mentally, I guess you can't really say abusive, but manipulative and controlling roommate wants to get Leslie away from her manipulative and controlling boyfriend, and so she's gonna basically tells her, you're coming with me to the lake. Can probably get you a job if you want to stay all summer. Like, she's just, who cares what Leslie wants? This, you know, her roommate, what the hell's her roommate's name? Jana. Is just like telling her what to do, and she's like, I don't know, my parents expect me home for the summer, and it's just like, I don't care. I'm adding that part. But long story short, Jana takes Leslie to basically this, it's her parents' place on this lake or whatever. I don't know if it's supposed to be on Tenkiller Lake, but I don't think it is, but it's near the Tenkiller Dam or whatever. Regardless, the movie just revolves around them taking a summer break or whatever. Well, it's just a few days in the movie, but going to this retreat on the, you know, in the lake, a place that I would very much like to be myself, and taking her there just presumably maybe to see how she likes it, and maybe she can spend the whole summer there and get a job at this just mom and pop kind of diner place by the name of the Cove, which is probably the name of the actual diner at the time, maybe even still now. It'd be really cool to like see if that place is still there. Anyone in Oklahoma or wherever this movie was filmed, feel free to drive down to Tenkiller Dam or whatever the place that is, and there's that restaurant which was at the 1986 was named the Cove, which is right there, and then whatever they filmed this movie takes place in. But long story short, Jana is you know, for the last several summers a waitress, or you know, waitress slash cook or whatever at this mom and pop diner called the Cove that feeds all the hungry fishermen that fish on presumably Tenkiller Lake or whatever. But long story short, there's this guy who like works at the marina or something by the name of Tor, who actually is this actor who went on to be in real movies, and I don't know his name, but maybe I can put it on the screen in red letters. He was actually had this like walk on and walk off spot, like maybe a line or whatever in the first 2007 Transformers movie, which was really strange. So he's been in actual movies. I don't know how big of roles he's gotten since or whatever, but this guy who plays Tor in this movie is really funny. And what's funny is, you know, they hide the fact he's the killer. They hide the fact that he's the killer in the first kill, but then the second kill, it's just like, oh, we're not going to hide the, you know, we introduce Tor, you know, after the first kill, and then the second kill is you just show it's Tor. They kind of hide him for a while, and then it's just like, ah, hell with it, it's Tor. And for the rest of the movie, you just know it's Tor, and he frequents the Cove, the diner, and it's funny because we end up finding out that, I mean, the first woman in the beginning of the movie that was killed by, well, Tor, and I think she worked at the Cove, the diner, because later on she's like, the owner or the manager is like, yeah, my best waitress took off or whatever, and you know, he's like, any word from, what the hell's the name of, I can't remember Denise, come here! And that was the name of the woman who got killed at the beginning of the movie. Because I'm giving you way too much information. The manager of the Cove asked Tor if he heard from Denise. He's like, no, things have kind of cooled off though a little, and it's just like, ha ha ha. I mean, we don't know he's a killer yet, but you know, in retrospect, when you go back and see that line, it means that he's basically killed her. So long story short, what ends up happening is, you know, of course, Jana, being a summer waitress or summer cook slash waitress or whatever at the Cove, comes back to, you know, take her job and actually gets Leslie a job there too. So what's so funny about this movie, and then there's this other, when the two characters, Leslie and Jana, go to the diner, they meet this other waitress slash cook or whoever the hell she is, who ends up being the second killed by Tor. So at the end of the day, it's like Tor tries to kill 4 women who work at this diner and succeeds in killing 3. So it's like, what is the service that bad? Like, I don't understand what like every victim in this movie, well, except for like Preacher, I think it's this older guy, maybe late 50s, early 60s guy who works with Tor at the marina. He might be the only the only male kill, the only guy who gets killed to die that didn't actually work at the, you know, frickin' diner, which is so funny. But I think, yeah, I mean, if you want kills, this movie isn't, you know, heavy on kills. It's more heavy on just like corny old, I mean, it's competent in the sense that it keeps moving, and you know, upon repeat, you know, I'm a kind of a fan of this movie. Upon repeated viewings, it's constantly interesting to me. Maybe I'm just simple-minded, I don't know, but I mean, it's competent in the sense that it really never gets boring, at least for me. It's always funny to just see what the ridiculous dialogue they come up with for these two characters, you know, Jana and Leslie, and just the stupid way Jana just runs the whole show, and just like, that crappy boyfriend of yours, come on, we're going to do this next, we're going to go swimming. This movie's got absolutely like horrid at this, you know, and kind of cool at the same time synth music, of course. Then there's this like tune that's like new, 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 and this later on this Tor character ends up having a harmonica, and it's almost like the kind of the 2-3 notes, kind of like almost Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think that's more than 3 notes, but I think, yeah, that's like 5, but this is 3 notes, and it almost, towards the end of the movie, it's almost like he plays this, I think he's supposed to be playing this tune on a harmonica, which is clearly just the synthesized, you know, digital, just synthesized music, you know, and he brings the harmonica towards the end of the movie up to his mouth, and he's like, and it's just like, it's almost like the three notes that that drive him insane and drive him to kill or something. But it's a theme that kind of permeates the movie, just like this. There's also this like synthetic percussion thing that just goes. It's so funny to me every time it happens. I just gotta laugh like out loud. It's just like, I'm gonna try to do it. Something like that. That wasn't very good, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, that's not precise enough, and it's kind of garbled, but it's this really goofy ass thing, and it kind of comes up every time there's like a scene that's like shady or something could maybe happen, or maybe it's something, a creepy scene or something. It's just like. That was probably the best one of the three, but that'll be my last attempt. But if you see the movie, you know what I mean. And this thing happens. It starts at the very beginning of the movie, and sometimes it goes into kind of a beat thing where if it's a kill, like later on in the movie, it just like repeat with, during a kill scene or whatever. It's funny because like the opening kill is like really good effects, and then when he kills Preacher, there's this scene where he cuts off his arm, or we don't see him like cut it fully off, but we see him cut on it. So like sometimes kills are like good, and there's parts of kills that are good, and sometimes it's just bad, and I don't know. So sometimes it has the first kill is like really like Tom Savini kind of quality effects, and like cutting on the arm, it looks really good, and you can tell by the way they kind of made the guy, they had a guy's real hand being the hand part and the arm's fake. So whoever they got to do some of this, very limited on-screen kind of violent, more gory stuff, I mean, when it happens, it's like really good. And then sometimes like the second kill of, whatever her name is, the one with that really kind of sharp or, strong southern accent, you need to see a menu. I can't remember what her name is. I don't know if we even hear her name, but she's killed in the sauna by Tor, and he gets in the sauna like jeans and jean jacket, and they're all wearing his clothes, and he just grabs a knife and is just like underwater, and we just see like blood or whatever. So most of the kills I think are kind of like that, and just when Jana's killed, that effect is kind of lame. We see an impact of the knife or whatever, and it's so funny because after he stabs her, she's like, "Stop it!" There's this other scene. I think this whole movie is looped, which is another thing that's kind of for people interested in the technical aspects of low budget or just movie making in general. I think this whole movie is looped. Maybe they shot at MOS, which means they just didn't bother. I don't know. It means they don't bother recording dialogue or any kind of sound on set and just intend to do everything in post. But I think there isn't a single line of dialogue in this movie that isn't looped. So what was I getting at? Oh yeah, there's a funny scene where the girls are driving to the lake's location towards the beginning of the movie, and you can tell it's like just sitting them in front of a mic and just ad lib and just say whatever you want. And like there's this one scene where Leslie's like, "Is there any horseback you're riding up here?" And her friend's like, "No, it's a lake." And you can tell, and they like both laugh after. You can tell it's completely ad-libbed, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And like whenever you see them talking in the car, it's like the words aren't even matching their mouths. And there's even a scene where it's like one character is talking, and I think she can see that her mouth isn't the same, and she almost kind of like laughs because of that, or it's just so funny. But anyway, if you delight in low budget or no budget to low budget and micro budget, just horror movies from the 80s or whatever, this is gonna really be a movie that you should really check out. And like I say, there's a very good chance it's on YouTube, and hopefully if it is, someone put the VHS version on YouTube so you can see the gore. In particular, the opening kind of throat-slashing scene in more bright clarity than on the DVD. I don't know why the DVD's got to be darker in those scenes, but the scenes that are daytime and stuff like that don't suffer, at least from what I can remember, as much as like the dark scenes. It's really a shame because like the best like kill effect is at the beginning, and it's like really hard to see in the DVD. So there's also a spot where this woman, was it Leslie, who's I've mentioned several times already, the naturally busty kind of lead, if you will, with the crappy boyfriend. She's obviously naturally busty and busty naturally, and it's funny because her friend Jana is like exact opposite, where she's got, unfortunately, well, it's not a big deal. I mean, but she's got basically nothing on her chest, which is fine. That's fine. There's nothing that says you scarf, but it's fine. But it's funny because it's strange, you know, it's weird because, well, I'll tell you what happens. So basically the whole movie she's got like, well, whenever she's got like a bikini top on, there's like nothing there. And then there's this one scene where she, you know, when they get to the lake or the lake or wherever little cabin location, she makes her friend Leslie go swimming, and there's this scene where she puts on a bikini top and her hair is noticeably different. So in my opinion, sometime after the principal photography of this movie, this woman decided, maybe from seeing, you know, dailies of the movie, or for whatever reason, she was just sick of it, of, you know, whatever. So she decided to actually go get some breast augmentation. So they actually come back and have her shoot, you know, at least one shot. Maybe there's more. See, I don't know. I think this is probably just a while later because her hair is different. So it's really ironic because they shoot a shot of her changing tops, you know, like out of her dress or whatever. She's got the back to camera, which is ironic. But I guess just because you get breast augmentation doesn't mean you want to show off your nipples. But so there's this scene where this character of Jana is changing her from her dress or whatever into a bikini top with her back to us. And when she puts a bikini top on, then she turns around, you can see there's definitely been breast augmentation. Particularly because later on, this couple shots that happen right after this shot is her and Leslie walking to a lake, and then, you know, she's actually got like nothing there, and it's just like for the rest of the movie or the rest of the scene and the rest of the movie, there's nothing there. So that's really kind of strange if you're like a guy who's like heterosexual or whatever. You very well probably will notice, in your detail-oriented kind of person, you probably will notice the fact that in that scene she's actually got some, you know, something there, you know, albeit artificially enhanced or whatever, and then for the rest of the scene, or maybe even the rest of the movie, nothing. And it seems like, I don't know, maybe at the beginning of the movie when she's kind of in this top that's cut off like this, she might have those at the beginning of the movie too, unless those are just some kind of pads underneath her shirt or whatever. But and at the end, at any rate, this Jana character is like goes from nothing to enhance something, maybe back and forth a few times in this movie. It's just something interesting to note. And in closing, one of the funnest things about this movie, there's so many fun, goofy-ass, lame stuff, it's hard to basically decide on which one you like best, which goofy-ass, lame detail you like best. But one of the most funny details of this movie that really dates it as well is this huge answering machine with probably like 2 tapes, you know, the one for the message outgoing and one for incoming messages or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, we're going to go to the lake, I'm going to turn on the answer machine. And like, as soon as she turns it on and exits the door, there's a phone call, and it's just like, the camera zooms in on the answer machine, and it's like, this is after like the second kill, I think. And it's like, I'm going to get you. And I think it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be Tor. The characters in this movie think that it's Josh, which is Jana's, not Jana, but Leslie's abusive boyfriend. And that's the kind of cool thing about the abusive boyfriend. They set that up so then everything that goes wrong, like with, I don't know, well, not that a lot goes wrong, but I guess they think that this message, which I would believe to be left by Tor, I'm going to get you, is Josh. And then I think Josh actually does call and harass her. So it's just like, I don't know what the hell they were intending to do with this movie. Then at the end of the movie, when Tor goes on he kills Jana or whatever, and then Josh is so pissed off, he actually somehow tracks where they're staying down, and he drives there in this lame scene and shows up just in time to be killed by Tor. And at first Leslie thinks Josh killed everyone, and then when she finds Josh dead, well, obviously not, and it's Tor. And Tor's like, I've loved you since I saw you. And I'm confused whether or not Tor wants to kill her or not, or whatever. I think she falls unconscious, and I think Tor, when he kills people, he puts them all in this rowboat and, you know, rows out in the middle of the lake and dumps their bodies. I don't think they'd sink unless he weighted them down, but we don't get those details. So it's kind of confusing to me whether, I mean, he puts Leslie at the end of the movie in the boat, and I guess he's intending to dump her into the lake, but I don't think, you know, I think she just falls unconscious or gets hit on the head or something like that. I mean, he doesn't kill her because obviously she's awake and is able to, I guess, oh, she's able to dump out of the boat, and at the beginning of the movie they kind of set up that she's a swimmer because she was in the swimming pool, so because of her swimming skills, she's able to escape. Tor, I don't know if Tor can't swim or what, but Tor ends up like drowning only to not be drowned and come out of the water in this lame kind of Jason Voorhees. It's like the last shot of the movie. And the credits actually roll over this lame shot of Tor just like in the water. It's just like, oh man. So long story short, I'm gonna give this movie, I absolutely like adore it in a way that is just like WTF, like just schlock cinema. So it's not a 2.5-star movie by any stretch of the imagination, but because it's one of those movies that is just right on track, right on par for me. I'm going to give this movie 2.5 stars out of 4 stars. Terror at Tenkiller. It's an absolute fantastic, just like schlock, no budget, micro budget movie, genre movie delight from the mid to late 80s. Once again, check it out on YouTube. It's a very good chance that someone, some kind soul, has uploaded the entire movie for your enjoyment. Feel free to let me know. I mean, Leslie is, the woman who plays her, it's too bad that she wasn't in anything else, and like I say, it makes you wonder why. Obviously the experience must have been, something that she just tried and went like, yeah, I didn't like that too much. But I don't know, in that scene of them driving, which is presumed what I would think is, just an ad-lib scene, she sounds like she's having fun recording that dialogue for that scene. I don't know, but it's kind of a shame that Stacey Logan, I think this is the only thing she did because she's kind of attractive back in the day, and there's this teasing ass shot at the very beginning of the movie, after kind of the flash of her chest in the shower, she puts on her damn bra with her back to us, and you get the little bit of side boob, and it's just like, oh man. But with that, I think we'll end the review, which is probably way too long. So thank you very much for watching this review of Terror at Tenkiller. And just be warned that I'm going to get you. Thanks for watching.